The following podcast contains mature subject matter, adult themes, and may also contain profanity. You have been warned.
Hello, Absurdians. Hello, and welcome back to the show. Little something different here today. It's just me. Solo show. Solo Rod solo. Mel, she's not here. She is on special assignment. I can't tell you where because it could put her life in peril. But let's just say she's out there doing good. And she's doing well. Yes, Mel is fine. Worry not. She will be back here next week. I decided that I would do my own thing, as it were, and didn't want to miss a week. So I put a little show together. No news to report this week. Nothing exciting. As we always do, we mention what we did on the weekend. I did not do a great... Well, actually, no, I take that back. I was about to say I didn't do much, but on Saturday, went out for Mother's Day, obviously with my mother, and my father, and my sister-in-law, and my nephew, Ryan, and Tracy. Tracy's the sister-in-law, Ryan's the nephew. I mentioned their names because they both listen to the show, which is awesome. Anyway, went out for a nice breakfast lunch, a.k.a. brunch, and did a little bit of shopping at some country food stores. So that was awesome. Got some good grub. Got a nice little rhubarb custard pie, which damn was good. I was very pleased. Other than that, went out, I think it was Friday night, to watch some hockey. I gotta say, I am cheering for the Sabres against Montreal. I was cheering for Montreal against Tampa Bay because I really dislike Tampa Bay. But now that they have accomplished that, put Tampa out, go Buffalo. So, yeah, they're down 2-1. Gonna watch the game tonight. It's Tuesday when I'm recording this. So hopefully by the time you hear this, the series is all tied up. Other than that, not much to report. So let's get into it. I'm going to do a story today. I'm doing two stories. One is a story that I've wanted to do for quite some time. It pertains to music in a way. And as we all know, Mel is pretty much only listens to new country. No, that's not true. And she would kick me if she were here. Mel likes a lot of electronic ambient dance, which I quite like too. But she also really likes the song Chicken Banana. I don't know if you know it, it's a kid's song. She put me onto it. So anyway, I digress severely. So I'm going to get into this story. So we're going to look at a band here that had a bizarre set of incidents that took place. I don't want to say it just happened because it was by design, and I'm not going to give too much away, but the band is called Mayhem. For those of you not too into metal, they are what's called black metal. Now, when you're thinking, what the heck is black metal? Well, black metal is an extreme subgenre of heavy metal music. Common traits include fast tempos, a shrieking vocal style, heavily distorted guitars played with a tremolo picking, raw or lo-fi recording, unconventional song structures, and an emphasis on atmosphere. Artists often appear in corpse paint and adopt pseudonyms. Venom initiated the first wave of black metal with their 1982 album called Black Metal, giving the subgenre its name. Now, some of you, certainly metal fans and, say, dedicated music fans, multi-genre music fans, will have heard of Venom. I don't know much of their music. I've heard them. But then a second wave of black metal started in the early 1990s, with many bands coming out of Scandinavia, particularly Norway. Black metal has often sparked controversy. Common themes in the genre are misanthropy, anti-Christianity, Satanism, and ethnic paganism. In the 1990s, members of the scene were responsible for a spate of church burnings and murders. This is in Norway and Sweden, chiefly. There is also a small neo-Nazi movement within black metal, although it has been shunned by many prominent artists. Generally, black metal strives to remain an underground phenomenon. Now, it should be said that, yes, while there are elements of Satanism within some black metal bands, the black in the term does not signify Satanism. When we talk about how members of black metal bands were engaged in church burnings, this wasn't about a pro-satanic thing. It was literally anti-Christian, and I did wonder for some time why this would be. But then after looking into it some time ago, I did learn that Christianity came to Scandinavia a lot later than it did to the rest of Europe. Of course, you had the Vikings in Scandinavia, which managed to keep the Christians out for quite a long time. And while, of course, they've been gone a long time, a lot of countries in the world, they have their folklore, they have their almost mythological beliefs in past civilizations that existed within their countries. So I think there was some sort of funky, weird, not a nationalism, but a culturalism that was prominent in lots of black metal. So it was anti-Christian. It was because they believed in a pagan type of belief system. So that's why the church burnings. It wasn't about Satanism, that tired old saw. It was literally against the rise of Christianity within the Scandinavian country. Mayhem, as I said, is a Norwegian black metal band formed in Oslo in 1984. They were one of the pioneers of the Norwegian black metal scene, and their music has profoundly influenced the black metal genre. To give you a little taste of what Mayhem sounds like, I'm going to go against my legal advice, and I've tacked a little bit of their sound in here. I'm not going to play it too loud, so it don't offend thine ears. Here it is. So yeah, that's Mayhem. Now, don't trip over yourself running out to buy their albums, but I just thought you might fancy a little sample of what they sound like. So let's get back to the story. Mayhem's early career was marked by several controversies, including their notorious live performances, the 1991 suicide of vocalist Per Yngve Olen, otherwise known, and here throughout the story known as Dead, and the 1993 murder of guitarist Ulstein Arsath, otherwise known and throughout the story as Euronymous. He was murdered by former bassist Varg Vikernes, otherwise known as Count Grishnach. That's a fun word to say, Grishnach. After 2 brief replacements, the role of vocalist and drummer in Mayhem were filled by Swedish vocalist Dead and local drummer Jan Axel Blomberg, known as Hellhammer. With Dead, the band's concerts gained notoriety for their extreme theatricality and atmosphere. From the outset of his career, Dead was known for wearing corpse paint, involving the application of black and white makeup to achieve a ghastly appearance. To complete his corpse-like image, Dead would bury his stage clothes and dig them up to wear on concert nights. It is widely believed that Dead had suffered from Cotard syndrome, or walking corpse syndrome, a rare mental disorder where a person believes they are already dead. His extreme behavior, including self-harm, obsession with death, and profound depression, is thought to have been triggered by a childhood trauma that left him clinically dead for a short time. During performances, Dead would often cut himself with hunting knives and broken glass. The band frequently featured pig or sheep's heads impaled on stakes at the front of the stage. In 1990, the members of Mayhem moved to an old house in the forest near Oslo, which they used as a rehearsal space. They began writing songs for their next album. Mayhem bassist, known as Necro Butcher, noted that after living together for a time, Dead and Euronymous got on each other's nerves a lot and, quote, weren't really friends at the end. Drummer Hellhammer recalled an incident where Dead once went outside in the woods to sleep because Euronymous was playing synthesizer music that Dead detested. Euronymous then followed him outside, shooting into the air with a shotgun. Varg Vikernes alleged that Dead once stabbed Euronymous with a knife. On April 8, 1991, at the age of 22, Dead committed suicide in the house rented by the band. He was found by Euronymous, who discovered him with slit wrists and a shotgun wound to the head. Dead's suicide note began with, "Excuse all the blood," and included an explanation. Nobody will ever understand this, but as a sort of explanation, I am not human. This is only a dream, and soon I will awake. The note concluded with the phrase, "I didn't come up with this now, but 17 years ago." Upon discovering Dead's body, Euronymous went to a nearby store, purchased a disposable camera, and photographed the corpse after rearranging certain items. Necro Butcher recounted Euronymous informing him about the suicide. Quote, "Euronymous called me up the next day and says, 'Dead has done something really cool. He killed himself.' I thought, 'Have you lost it? What do you mean cool?' He says, 'Relax. I have photos of everything.' I was in shock and grief. He was just thinking how to exploit it, so I told him, 'Okay, don't even fucking call me before you destroy those pictures.'" Euronymous subsequently used Dead's suicide to cultivate Mayhem's evil image, claiming that Dead had taken his life due to the commercialization of black metal. In time, rumors circulated that Euronymous had made a stew from bits of Dead's brain and fashioned necklaces from fragments of his skull. The band later denied the former rumor, confirming only the latter. Moreover, Euronymous claimed to have given these necklaces to musicians he deemed worthy. In 2018, a fragment of Dead's skull went on sale for $3,500, accompanied by a letter from Euronymous stating, "Okay, that should be all. I'm including a little piece of Dead's cranium in case you'd like to have it. Hear from you soon." In a 2019 interview with Loudwire and Consequence of Sound, Necrobutcher stated he had contemplated killing Euronymous due to his treatment of Dead. Dead's suicide and Euronymous' actions following it profoundly affected Necrobutcher, prompting him to leave Mayhem, which reduced the band to 2 members. On the 10th of August 1993, Varg Vikernes murdered Euronymous. That night, Vikernes and another man traveled 518 kilometers from Bergen to Euronymous' apartment in Oslo. Upon their arrival, a confrontation ensued, culminating in Vikernes fatally stabbing Euronymous. His body was discovered outside the apartment, bearing 23 stab wounds, 2 to the head, 5 to the neck, and 16 to the back. Vikernes contends that Euronymous had plotted to torture him to death and videotape the event, using a meeting about an unsigned contract as a pretext. On the night of the murder, Vikernes claimed he intended to present Euronymous with the signed contract and tell him to fuck off, but that Euronymous attacked him first. Additionally, Vikernes claimed that most of Euronymous' stab wounds were inflicted by broken glass he fell onto during the struggle. Vikernes was arrested within days, and a few months later he was sentenced to 21 years in prison, the maximum sentence in Norway for both the murder and church arsons. He was released from prison in 2009. In a video interview with Consequence of Sound on 15 October 2019, Necrobutcher discussed his lingering bitterness towards Euronymous after having been replaced in the band. He recounted his thoughts on Euronymous' murder, stating that, quote, "Okay, I can tell her right now because I've been holding it in for many years, but actually I was on my way down to kill him myself. And when it happened, I saw the morning paper thinking, fuck, I gotta get home to my place and get out all the weapons and drugs and shit I had in my house, because they're coming to my house because I'm probably going to be the #1 suspect for this. But little did I know that the Norwegian police already knew that Varg was going down also to kill him, because they bugged his phone, and he actually talked about this killing before he went to Bergen, so the cops already knew that he was coming. So they probably were thinking to themselves, we didn't nail this guy for the church burnings, so let's nail him for murder and get rid of this fucking guy in Oslo the same time. So that's basically what happened. So Mayhem still exists. I have listened to a few of their songs. I'll listen to a couple more in preparation for doing this story. I like metal very much. And I like heavy, doomy, dark metal. But I ain't really into these guys. It's too... Oh, it just sounds crappy. You know? I don't think it's a good sound. No offense if you're into Mayhem. Do your thing, man. I think they've kept their noses clean ever since then, to my knowledge anyway. But they certainly had a tumultuous and violent early days to their career. 2 members dead, one by their own hand, one as a result of being murdered, and then the guy who did the murder ended up in prison, released in 2009. So there you go. There's Mayhem of Mayhem. Alright, so let's do our second story here. Much less morbid and dark. Still rather interesting. Well, very interesting, otherwise I wouldn't have chosen. So we're going to head on down south into the US of A. Specifically to the state of Alabama. Here we go. So when Waffle House waitress Tonda Dickerson was tipped a winning Florida lottery ticket in 1999, she thought she would never have to work again. Instead, her entire life was nearly ruined. Winning the lottery sounds like a dream come true. for most people, getting that kind of money could change their life. It certainly changed Tonda Dickerson's life, but not for the better. After winning $10 million in the Florida lottery in 1999, Dickerson faced a saga of lawsuits, battled the IRS, and was briefly kidnapped by her ex-husband. The ironic misfortune of Dickerson's life post-lottery isn't an isolated incident. There are numerous examples of lottery winners falling on hard times, ruining their personal relationships, or even being killed. While Dickerson's circumstances weren't quite as extreme as other past lottery winners, her story shows that even those who want to use their winnings responsibly can still end up in hot water after getting their prize. In March 1999, Tonda Dickerson was working as a waitress at the Waffle House in Grand Bay, Alabama. One of the restaurant's regulars, a man named Edward Seward, came in to eat breakfast on March 7th. Seward tipped his waitress, Dickerson, with a Florida lottery ticket, something the man did regularly whenever he came in. Dickerson picked up the ticket and went on with her shift as usual. Dickerson, though, was in for the surprise of her life when that following Saturday she found out that her ticket was the winner in the draw. She had just won $10 million from the Florida lottery. She was thrilled, assuming she would never have to work again. Rather than taking the entirety of the winnings all at once, Dickerson opted to receive smaller amounts of the prize money over the course of 30 years. Dickerson wasn't anticipating the lawsuits. As it turned out, Tonda Dickerson's claim to the money wasn't as straightforward as she thought. Edward Seward, who had gifted Dickerson the winning lottery ticket, would commonly tip servers with lottery tickets. He did this so often that Dickerson's co-workers alleged that the colleagues had agreed to split any winnings amongst themselves if any of them got a prize. But Dickerson denied this, and so her co-workers took her to court. In April 1999, her colleagues testified at the Mobile Circuit Court that they had all agreed, including Dickerson, to split any winnings from lottery tickets received as tips. There was even a couple who regularly ate at the same Waffle House who testified to hearing about the same agreement. Though a jury decided against Dickerson, she wasn't ready to give up yet. She turned down a settlement that would have allowed her to walk away with $3 million of the jackpot and put the court case behind her. Instead, she opted to appeal to the Alabama Supreme Court. This ended up being the right move for Dickerson, as the Alabama Supreme Court ruled to reverse the decision on February 18, 2000. The court found that an agreement like the one allegedly made by the Waffle House employees couldn't be enforceable under state law because it concerned gambling. But that wouldn't be the last time someone tried to sue Dickerson for her winnings. In 2002, about 3 years after Dickerson had won the $10 million lottery, the very man who gave her the winning ticket tried to sue her. Seward claimed that Dickerson had not fulfilled her supposed promise that she would buy him a pickup truck if she won the lottery. A Mobile County Circuit judge threw out the case in February, but chillingly, that same week, Dickerson realized that an attempted lawsuit was the least of her worries. Back in 1997, just 2 years before she won the lottery, Tonda Dickerson had divorced her former husband, Stacy Martin, no relation. Later on, the same exact week that Edward Stewart's case against Dickerson was thrown out in 2002, Martin made a reappearance in Dickerson's life in an extremely violent way. Martin attacked Dickerson while she was driving in Mississippi and then forced her to drive toward an isolated area at Bayou Heron. During the drive, Martin threatened to kill Dickerson, especially when her phone rang. He had apparently been tracking Dickerson as he had just been released from prison after being linked to a December 2001 break-in at Dickerson's home. Once they arrived at Bayou Heron, Dickerson's phone rang yet again. Quote, she asked him to let her answer it, saying that if she didn't answer it, they would start looking for her, a local sheriff reported at the time. So Martin let Dickerson pick up her phone, but instead of reaching for the phone, Dickerson cleverly reached for her handgun instead. After Martin lunged toward her, Dickerson shot him in the chest, wounding him. Despite his injuries, Martin took the gun away from Dickerson, once again threatening to kill her. He also threatened to kill himself. Somehow Dickerson was able to convince Martin to go to the hospital instead, where he received treatment for his wound. The cops were called, and Dickerson was finally free after the terrifying abduction. Meanwhile, Tonda Dickerson was also grappling with what would be a years-long battle with the IRS regarding how much she owed them. The IRS insisted that she needed to pay about $1 million in gift tax after she gave most of her winnings away to her family members via a business she set up. Dickerson's fight against the IRS lasted until at least 2012. The story once again gets murky, with some sources reporting that she lost in tax court and had to pay up, while others claimed her lawyers were able to successfully argue that the IRS was wrong to demand $1 million in gift tax. Either way, Dickerson was able to walk away relatively unscathed, especially compared to some other unfortunate lottery winners like Uraj Khan, who was poisoned shortly after he learned about his prize, and Amanda Clayton, who died of a drug overdose less than a year after she collected her jackpot. Little is known about Dickerson's life today, but it is believed that she currently works as a poker dealer at a casino in Biloxi, Mississippi. So you've won millions of dollars, however much you may have left. Sounds like she, even if she had to pay up to the IRS, she has in the neighborhood of $9 million left, barring any spending she has done. Why in the name of Doug would you go to Biloxi, Mississippi to work as a casino dealer? Anyway, now that's, she knows whether or not she agreed to split any lottery winnings with her co-workers. If she didn't agree to that, then she's fine, and not sharing it with them is okay, because she knows. Now, if she did agree to it and was lying, well, then, yeah, she's kind of a dick. But the guy who gave her the ticket and said she promised to buy him a pickup truck if she won, well, she also knows whether that's true or not. But in my opinion, it would be considered reasonable, I think, that she bought him the truck whether she promised it or not. I mean, she never would have got the money were it not for this guy. Does she owe him it? No. Certainly not in any legal way. But, I don't know, man. I don't really believe in karma as such, but I do believe in a certain degree of balance in the universe. And you kind of get back what you put out, And, I don't know. I would have given him a pickup truck. I mean, what's a bloody pickup truck cost in 2000? Good one? I don't know. 70 grand? 60 grand? Man, that's peanuts compared to what she won. So, I don't have a lot of sympathy here for Miss Tonda Dickerson. Not really. And, for the record, I'd be quite content to win the lottery. But that's what they say. When you win a big lottery, first thing you do is hire a lawyer and a financial advisor. Do not put it out to the world that you won, because you're going to be inundated with requests. You'll have family members and friends coming out of the woodwork. And, God, if I won $10 million, I'd probably end up giving away $6 or $7 million of it to people, friends, family, and also to some charities. And if I can't make a go of it on $3 million, especially on a Canadian lottery win, where you don't pay any tax on the principal lump sum, only on the interest, well, even at simple interest, that's 150 grand, meager investment rate of 150 grand a year to live on. Gosh, I think I could do it. Anyway, that's stories for this week, as it was just me, solo road, hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm sure you missed Mel as much as I did, but hopefully I wasn't too boring and tedious. And I hope you enjoyed the stories. So, yeah, we'll be back next week. Mel will be here, as far as I know, presuming she, of course, survives her special assignment. And, so hopefully we'll see you then. In the meantime, of course, as we say every week, it's always Mel, but I'm going to do it this time. Please give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or whatever platform you're listening to us on. And if you have time, have a couple minutes, give us a quick review. We genuinely would appreciate that. But especially the rating, this 5-star rating, that helps us tremendously. And also, do spread the word. Tell your friends and family, co-workers, church people, complete and utter strangers on the street. Unless they look dangerous, leave them alone. And if you have any feedback or you have any questions for us, please reach out to us through Facebook Messenger, Instagram, or you can email us at the Absurd Podcast. No, is that what it is? Yeah, the Absurd Podcast at gmail.com. I think that's what it is. Anyway, until next week, I hope you're all doing well and staying healthy. So in the meantime, take good care of yourselves and one another, please. Bye.
The Absurd Podcast is written, produced, and recorded by Rod and Mel. Music by Audionautics.com.